Welcome back, everybody, and in today's video I'm going to be telling you guys the absolute cheapest way to do an LS swap, the most budget build that you can go to get one of these in your car running and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to be telling you guys kind of what parts are the cheapest and how to do it. Let's do that. Okay, so you need to start with obviously buying your motor. This one in particular is out of a '06 Chevy truck. I bought this for $400. There are cheaper ones out there for probably $300. Anyways, bought this with nothing. It was all with nothing else but just the motor. There was no wiring harness. That didn't come with a computer. None of that. So to get this thing going reliably, if you wanted to, you could just take it, throw it in whatever vehicle you want, and go. But if you want to go in reliably, and this has 140,000 miles on it, which a lot of them do, you're going to want to go through it. So one of the first things that you're probably going to want to do is main bearings, which this motor has. We did main bearings. The rod bearings in these motors usually look all right, so we did in this actually use stock rod bearings. Obviously did the cam bearings because those were trash. They're actually, the old ones are over here. These cam bearings, you can see the copper right there. But other than the bearings, everything else in this is stock. The cam is stock. Everything is stock. We use the stock rings, and so the real expense with that is the bearings, the cam bearings and the main bearings, and the gasket kit. The gasket kit that I bought was off Amazon. I think it was like $130, something like that. Other than that, everything else has been stock. One of the things that you're probably going to need is some engine mounts. I bought these ICT billet ones. They were, I think, $30 to mount my motor mounts onto them for a 3rd gen Camaro. Stock intake, but I had to put a throttle body on it, and you'll see why in a minute. I didn't want to use the electric throttle body, so I'm just got this on here, which this was $40, and I had to put this spacer on it to convert it to a 4-bolt, and I think that was $15. So also cheap. I'm gonna put a little counter in the top right, probably about around what price range I'm at. Another thing that we had to do to the motor was the timing chain. That is the old one because it was wicked loose. That was probably $45, something like that. This is all valve train right here. This is all stock. As you can see, I am in the process of putting this side back together. Another thing that I did was the harness that I bought, and you'll see why I bought it in a minute. It doesn't come with the oil plug, so I bought this. This was like $5. So I bought this to put a mechanical oil pressure gauge into it. For me, I had to buy new sensors. You might not have to, but I had to buy new cam and crank sensors because mine had broken when I took them out. New head bolts. All of them are brand new. Those are the old ones. They actually came with the gasket kit that I had bought. Right now, this is the stock oil pan. For a project vehicle, you're probably going to have to buy a conversion one, which mine is on the way, and I think that was probably $140 on Amazon as well. So you can see I had to modify this motor mount to accept this, because the main reason I'm making this video is because on the 2 videos ago, when I showed us putting this thing back together, a guy said, why didn't I put a cam in it and do all this other stuff? Because I'm trying to go as budget as I can with this. I'm trying to get this running as cheap as I possibly can for what I'm using. Now, if you want to go super duper cheap, you would buy a 4L80 and strap it to the back of this and use that as a transmission. I am actually using a T5 which is cheaper for me because that came out of the Camaro that I'm using. So there was a couple extra expenses that I had to buy to make that work, like a flywheel, and I'm gonna have to buy a clutch now. But the big thing that a lot of people, that is probably the most expensive part of these LS swaps, is the wiring harness. So I did a ton of research and I found this. So this is the harness that I bought, which a lot of people use the, like, you know, Terminator X's or whatever, but this is the cheapest wiring harness you can get that's actually good. Now this one is for a 4L80, but it'll work with my transmission. This was, gosh, I don't exactly remember, but it definitely was not as, I think it was probably $200, if that, maybe $120 was this one. I'll add it to the price in the corner there. But bought this because this is the cheapest way that you can, cheapest harness that you can use to get one of these running. And I've seen a lot of people use them, did a lot of research, and they seem to work good. Comes with instructions, so hopefully this will do me well and actually work good. So for my build, obviously to go as cheap as you can, you'd use an automatic transmission, but for mine, I had to buy this flywheel from McLeod. I think this was $270. So that is definitely a little more expensive than you're trying to go if you're trying to get this thing as budget as you can, but it's what I need for my project. This is a thermostat, new thermostat, and I think those are $20, if that. I've just got a couple gaskets right there. This is my bell housing. For this flywheel, I have to use a hydraulic throwout bearing, so all this has to come off to get a hydraulic throwout bearing to work. You're gonna need like things like your mass airflow sensor, which I'm getting off of this, and another thing you're gonna need is a computer. So, and you could use stock headers. I'm not, but you could if you wanted to go really cheap. I'm using a set of swap headers for the Camaro. But the computer I'm going to need to work with this harness. You can go to any junkyard, find a Cat Eye or something with an LS, steal the computer out of it. Well, not steal, but get the computer out of it and use it for this harness, and it'll work just fine. Buy like an HP tuner, find a guy that can tune it. They'll tune it for you, and then everything else will work just fine. That is pretty much it for as far as expenses go to get one of these running in your car and for you to have fun with. This for me is a complete budget build. I'm just trying to get it in my car running and driving. Anyways, if you're trying to do an LS swap and you're trying to go as cheap as you can, use this. Just do pretty much everything that I did to do it as cheap as you possibly can. If you could, I would use the stock harness if you can get it out of a truck. But a lot of people can't, and that's why I am using that one off of Amazon, which was, I believe, $120. So, anyways, the total price is right there up in the corner. I'm not exactly sure how much it is right now, but that is as budget as it gets for one of these. There's no cam in this. There's no intakes, good intakes, whatever. No turbos. Just a 5.3, stock 5.3. For me, a T5, but for you, it could be a 4L80 or whatever. So this is as cheap as you can do it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye now.